Algebra 1, Module 2, Algebraic Models, Lesson 2.2, Creating and Solving Equations. If you like, you could work this through. If you like to do that, make sure you pause the video. Okay guys, so we went over this in class. So warm-up 2.2, but it's actually from Lesson 2.1, Lesson Performance Task, which means was intended to check if you have the mastery of the material from 2.1. If you could do this, you're in great shape. So let's talk about this, guys. Okay. Let me show you the answer first. But we got Becky and Michelle. They're both shopping at a different dealership. And dealership A is offering $500 cash back. And then dealership B is offering $1,000 cash back. Now, the tax rate at dealership A, it could be at a different county, right? Is 5%. And dealership B offers at 8%. So, okay. So this case is that Becky is buying $15,000 car, Michelle is buying a little more expensive car, $20,000. Then does it make a difference where they should get the car? So just looking at the number, it seems like it should be the same for both. Both, like dealership A is better for one versus the other, right? The question clearly saying that that's not the case. So how do I do this? You guys ready? Okay, here's the answer the book provides, but I'm going to zoom in the A first. Okay, so what does that mean? Dealership A is that here's the price that you pay, right? But there's a 5% sales tax. And then after you add a sales tax, and then you subtract the rebate, which is minus 500. Put it all together, you end up with 1.05 times the price of the car minus the 500. Going to the same exact argument, the only thing that changes over here in dealership B is the tax rate and the minus the $1,000, which yields 1.08 P times 1,000. Okay, so we have a formula. So this is the formula for the dealership A. For dealership B, this is the formula. So the Becky wants to buy a $15,000 car, put in 15,000 here and here, right? Which is what happened here and here. As it turns out, dealership A, for her, it will be $15,250 versus dealership B is $15,200. The dealership A costs more. Therefore, for Becky, it's better to buy dealership B because it's $50 cheaper. Now, is that true for her friend, Michelle? Well, what happened was that we plugged in 20,000 and it yielded 20,500 versus 20,600. So for this person, dealership A is actually less than dealership B. So Michelle gets a better deal by $100. So how do you do this? Okay. Now the question in the part C is if the two deals are equivalent, right? When additional 3% is 500, blah, 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 blah. So it has an answer. But instead of just doing it this way, how about this? Uh-oh. All right. Let me go to the next page because I actually did some work, right? So what you would want to do is the following. Oh, by the way, during the class, I made a point that these two represent the tax and these two represent the rebates, right? Going back to this over here, right? So I want to know when dealership A and B are the same. So I wrote it down, right? Without combining these two, then you could cancel out the P. When you solve for that, when we move this way, that gives you 0.03P. You add 1,000 to both sides, right? Which gives 500. When you do this, and I did the long division over here, right? Which gives you $16,667. Rounded to the nearest dollar is when you pay the same amount. Clearly, we found that like 15,000, right? If the car is $15,000, B is cheaper, right? So what that tells you is that with dealership, B is the better option. If the car that you buy is $16,667 or cheaper. Well, actually, if it's less than that, right? Right. All right, guys. So that was the beginning. Let's go do the lesson part. Here we go. Today we're talking about creating and solving equation, guys. Okay. Essential question: how to use an equation to model and solve real-world problems. So the Korean friend, Walter, goes to the movie. They share frozen yogurt, and then they each I guess they bought tickets each, right, to get into the movie theater. The total is 1990. How would you do that? Okay. So once again, if you're absent, try this on your own first. See how much you could do. All right, guys. So this is what we did in class, right? So what happened was that we talked about. We started with this actually down here, right? We knew that 1990 consists of twice the ticket plus 550, right? So this is where we started, right? So total amount of money is 2 tickets plus frozen yogurt. So we replace the frozen yogurt with the price that it cost. Total is 1990. And instead of writing tickets, let's use T, right? So I went back and wrote down T is equal to the ticket price. Solving this equation, 550 subtracted from both sides gives you 1440. After you divide by 2, gives you $7.20. So each movie ticket cost $7.20. All right, guys. So we did A in period 4. We did this in period 2. Okay, let's go over each one, right? So even if you were in my class here with the lecture, it's actually not a bad idea actually to watch this video because I do both examples, right? All right. Alice and Aaron and Alice, let's go X and Y. They both start with A, so it's a little bit more difficult to do it with A. So Alice scored twice the difference of Aaron's score and 5, and some of the scores is 320. Okay, the green part is a little easier, right? Some of the scores, so X plus Y is 320. In this case, what do we have? Alice's score is twice. Alice is the Y actually, right? Y is twice the difference. Subtract. What are we subtracting? Aaron's score and 5. So because we have to write them in the order in which it appears, Aaron is the X and number is 5. The other equation is what? X plus Y is 320. Yeah, that's what we did, right? Let me pull that up for a second. Okay. So there you go. There you go. Okay. So what we did was exactly that, right? The green is X plus Y 320, and the magenta is this right here. Teal color is this. So now what we do is we got to plug in some values, right? What is Y equal to, right? So using this expression, we plug into the Y over there, and that is 2x minus 5. And we distribute the values, right? And then when we solve for the X, it turns out to be $110. I won't necessarily go through the steps over here because we've gone through that in the first phase of the year. So I'll just focus on the new ideas, okay, guys? All right. But if you do have trouble working through these, you do need to come see me. And also in class, we went over it a little more carefully, right? Good. So we got $110 over here in X, so I gotta find Y. But I already have expression for Y. See that right there? So I plugged the 110 into that, which is twice the X, which is 110 minus 5. Going through the calculation, Y is 210. So Aaron's bowling score is 110. Sounds like about my score. And Alice's score is 210. That's excellent score, by the way. Okay. Anyways, that's how we did that in period 4. Let's look at what period 2 did. Ooh, look at that. I got blue, I have a teal, and I have black. 3 equations. So we got Mari, Carlos, and Amanda collects stamp. So altogether they have 100 stamp, means what? M plus C plus A is equal to 100. Oh, by the way, you could pause this video at any time, right? It says Carlos has 5 more than Mari. Is that C is equal to has 5 more than plus 5 of what? Mari. Right? Amanda has 3 times as many as Carlos. A is equal to 3 times C. And the black part says m plus c plus a is 100. We got 3 equations and 3 unknowns. And let me pull this up so that you could see exactly what I did. And that's exactly what we... Hold on a second, guys. Let me make it slightly bigger. There you go. So that's what we had, right? So what I did was, hey, we have this equation right here, right? We got 3 equations and 3 unknowns, but we could only really do comfortably when you have 1 equation and 1 unknown. So we have to make it happen that way. So these two have c's in common. So let's solve this in C, right? So I copy this over here, and I decided to put the 100 on the other side because that's what I feel comfortable with. What is A equal to? According to that second equation, A is equal to 3C. What is M equal to? When I solve for the M over here, I ended up with C minus 5. As soon as I do that, I got one equation with 3 variables, but they're all C. So there's only one variable, right? So we just have to combine everything, which ends up with 5C minus 5 equal to 100. Solving that, C is 21. So I believe C is that Carlos, right? So Carlos has 21 stamps. And who was this? A was Amanda. Amanda is 3 times what Carlos has. Plug in the value, you get 63. And Mari is what? C minus 5. Or you could plug into this one, by the way, right? And you end up with 21 minus 5 is equal to 16. Therefore, Carlos has 21 stems, Amanda has 63 stems, and Mari has 16 stems. Okay, guys? And this is your turn. So pause the video, try it if you haven't done it before. Okay. And then this is the key, right? So I'm just going to explain to you what happened here. So 256 is the perimeter. So even before you think, perimeter is what? Adding all 4 sides, right? This book seems to have over here, right? The perimeter is twice the width plus twice the length. Me personally, I like to think of it as you add the width and the length, and then you multiply by 2. Effectively, it's the same thing, but I generally find that it's slightly quicker, right? Well, anyways, the perimeter is 256. Here's the formula for the perimeter because we got 2 W's and 2 W plus 8s. See that right there? Solving through the rest, it turns out that W is 60. And the length over here is W plus 8. So that'll be 60 plus 8 is 68 feet. So the width is 60 feet, length is 68. The way I did it is I like to think of perimeter as twice the L plus W. Once again, this is no different from this, but just slightly, ever so slightly quicker, right? So we know that the perimeter is 256, and the width, according to that, is W, and the length is W plus 8. I just plugged it in, and then it simplifies right here. At this point, if you were to expand this out, it looks exactly like this, right? Yeah, but I would personally divide by 2 to both sides. It's, I think, slightly quicker. But you could actually do each algebra step whatever is comfortable to you, as long as it's perfectly legal, right? Okay, guys. Let's go to the next set of questions. Here we go. Creating and solving equation with the variables on both sides. So in this particular case, a Janine is offered 2 different jobs with 2 different scenarios. You have starting salary of $28,000, and you get a raise $3,000 every year. So it's a linear, right? And all the company offers higher money but less increase per year. It's kind of like this. This person is ahead, but it's a little slower. So the faster person, $3,000 a year versus $2,000 a year, is like going 20 miles per hour versus 30 miles per hour, right? Somebody who goes a little bit faster will ultimately catch up. Question is when, right? And over here it's very, very, very similar. So it's 800 plus 16 per hour, 720 plus 21 per hour. So it's like maybe a bicycle going 16 miles per hour, and this is going 21 miles per hour, right? And this is like 80 miles ahead. The question is, when will you catch up? Right? Okay. So this is what I did. I believe it's in the next page. Here we go. So the teal tells you one expression, and what's in the blue tells you a different expression, right? So let me make this slightly bigger. And n represents the number of years to make that happen, right? So the teal one is $28,000 to start, but 3,000 times n, because it's $3,000 you get raised every year, right? And in the blue, you get 36,000 with 2,000 to increase. By solving n for this one over here, you get 10,000, sorry, 1,000, and you subtract 28,000 to this, you end up with this expression, 1,000 n equal to 8,000, so n equal to 8. Okay, once again, we'll go a lot slower in class, right? So it takes 8 years for the salaries to be the same. And then after 8 years, which one's the faster rate? This one? Yeah, you'll have more money. And same thing happens with example B, right? This one I'll go, just show you the answers. Once again, it goes something like this, right? We have the first company will be 800 plus 16 hours. So $800 initially charges and $16 every hour. The second company right here, $720 initially plus $21, right? When you go through the calculation, it turns out the T is 16. So it will take 16 hours for it to be the same price. When you plug in the value, as it turns out, it is both of them give you 10,056. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the second part over here. Silly me. All right. So all you guys just plug in the 8 to both of them, and you get the answer. Okay. All right. So if you plug in 8 over here, that's 24,000, right? So the answer will be 52K for both of them. Okay. So I'll leave that as an exercise for you. All right, guys. Here's your turn. Please work on it if you haven't done so already. Okay, let me show you the answers. What happened over here is we got a rectangular garden over here. This is triangular garden, and they're saying that it has the same perimeter right there, right? As it turns out, this one is what? Twice the width. You double this part right there. You double that, which is right here. That's the rectangular perimeter, right? For triangular perimeter, we got to add all three of them, which you do over here. Once you simplify, on the left-hand side becomes 8x minus 12. The right-hand side becomes 6x minus 2. Solving this to this, x is 5. Right? Once you plug it in, it turns out there's 28 on both sides. So with given restrictions, x has to be 5, and the perimeter is actually 28 feet of fencing material. On the right-hand side, it looks like two animals, Simba and Cuddles. The one consumes, right? Initially consumes 1,200 calories, and each day you could increase the calorie by 100, right? Maybe they're eating more each day. Cuddles is consuming 3,230, but will be consuming 190 calories less. If that's the case, when would they have the same calories, and how much is it? So the first one is over here, isn't it? So 1,200 initially plus 100 for every n number of days. For the second case, it's this one right here. 3,230 initially, and we're going to be losing 190 per day, right? When you solve for that, and it's 7. So it takes 7 days. When you plug it in, they both will consume 1,900 calories. So in 7 days, each animal will be consuming 1,900 calories per day. Okay, guys, that is it. So I shall see you with the next lesson. Okay, have a good night.